And a very good afternoon to you. Friday afternoon once again. And again, I have absolutely no idea where this week has gone. So welcome to the weekly finance masterclass. Can you believe this is our 8th one? I actually thought it was the 6th and I went back and checked and had to change my notes because it's the 8th one we've done, which is quite incredible. All the guides now, in the guide section of the Facebook group, you'll now find all of the replays of the previous masterclasses, so you can catch up on them really, really easily. So I suggest you go and check those out if you've missed any. Now, as always, please comment and let me know you're watching. Let me know you can hear me, because that's always a bonus. Yeah, thank you, Sean. I'm live, thank you. Yeah, please comment, please let me know you're here. It's lovely to know I'm not talking to absolutely nobody. And if you're watching on replay, you know the drill by now, hashtag replay, and please comment, let me know anything you'd like to know, anything that you enjoyed learning about, let me know in the comments. And please ask questions as we go, and I will be very happy to answer those as we go through the workshop. Good afternoon, Rebecca, nice to see you. Okay, let's crack on then. So today we are talking about the must-have financial information that every business needs, no matter how small, no matter how large. And this is one of my favorite subjects. And I know I say that every week, but all of these subjects are my favorite subjects. And this is a particularly important one to me. I did all of my training in financial information. That's been my background when I worked for Next and for Northern Foods, because getting the right financial information has the absolute power to transform your future and to transform your business. I'm going to explain today now what information you need and why what you're using at the moment might not be good enough. Now, the reason for this is that we need context and comparison when we're looking at information. So just looking at what our accounting system kicks out is never going to be quite enough. So I just want to dispel a few myths around financial information before we really get into the detail of this. So the first myth is, my accounting system tells me everything I need to know. Now, as a general rule, if you're using Sage or Xero or QuickBooks or those kind of packages, you're probably getting off a profit and loss report that gives you your month profit and loss and maybe your year to date. Now, that is great and it's better than absolutely nothing, but it's not enough, because information on its own doesn't really mean anything. If I say to you, we made £10,000 profit, well, is that good or is that bad? Were we supposed to make 20 or were we supposed to make 5? What if gross margin was 43%? Is that good or bad? Well, depends if we meant to make 45 or 50 or 40. So the context of information is the most important part of it, because that's the bit that tells you if figures are good or not. Just looking at a print of figures is, like I say, better than nothing, but it's never going to be enough. Here's another myth then. You don't need management accounts until you're a much bigger business. I used to hear this a lot from accountants when I ran my own management accounting practice, and it drove me crazy. Because who is anyone to say that your business is not important enough to you that you need to know where you are? Is there some kind of rule that says until you're earning £5 million turnover that your numbers aren't important enough? So I think that is completely insane. And I think every business, no matter how small, should have great information, because that's how we go from a small company to a bigger company. That's how we improve our profits and improve our cash flow. We don't improve them by not having management accounts. So if you ever hear that said to you, give them a kick, because that's just not true. Now, the other myth is that I can just leave all this to my bookkeeper or accountant and they can decide what information I need. Well, clearly that would not be a good idea, because with all due respect to them, who are they to decide what you need to see? You need to be the one who's deeply understanding your information and your business and asking for the things that you need to see. Just a quick example of that would be, if you're in a business where gross margin is important, your accounting package may not be giving you the percentage gross margin. It may not be breaking down components of labour gross margin and material gross margin. And there may be things that are very important to you that a bookkeeper or accountant just going and giving you a kind of a standardised format isn't going to know. So it's very important that you own your own information. And the other myth I want to knock on the head right now is I only need quarterly accounts. No, sorry, you only need quarterly accounts. Now, this often will come from your accountant. And again, I would counter that with, Who says my business and my information is so unimportant that I only need to know 3 times during the year? Because the 4th time, of course, will be after your year end. You can't run your business knowing 3 times during a year where you are. It can't end well. So if anyone ever says that to you, again, give them a kick and send them to see me, because that is absolutely not okay. So, and we really need to have this context, and it needs to be information that's wrapped around our business in a way that's hugely meaningful to us. So if it ever feels like it's just accounts data, there's a chance you haven't got it right, and you need to maybe get it tailored a bit more around your business. So I just want to talk through with you exactly why having great information is so critically important. And this is a massive passion for me, because I see so many companies battling on year after year with really basic information. And then when they get the right information, it's like the lights have gone on all around the business. People are going like, oh my goodness, I can see now. I can see what's going wrong. I can see what I need to know. I can see what I can change. And I can then actually see the changes happening as they go. So the thing about a business is, even if it's quite small, a business is a complex machine of moving parts. So you've got to have the information that's kind of reporting on all of those aspects of your business and really reflecting back to you what's going on. Now, stuff can and will go wrong, even in the best run business. And my goodness, have we not seen that in the last year? Stuff can come out of left field. We can lose a big customer. Fraud can happen. I mean, pandemics can happen. So many things can happen in a business, and we have to be able to see it coming in time to fix it. And we only get that with the right level of financial information. You will never get that by looking at a profit and loss printout from your accounting system. We need to know that we're protected. Now, I talked quite a lot about this last week, protecting your business from financial stress. The right information gives you a lovely warm feeling of, oh, I know where I am. I can see where I'm going. I can see where I've been. I've got this. And I've just this morning done my February management accounts, and it always gives me a feeling of like, oh, I'm in control. I can see where I'm going. I've got my forecast. I know where I am. And the management accounts, they should never just be reporting on what you did last month. They should also be projecting forwards, and they should be your roadmap of what you're trying to achieve with your life and your business, which again is something your accounting system print is never going to quite give you. So I'm going to show you how we can integrate that into your actual financial dream and plan. And if you remember, I talked a lot about vivid vision earlier in the group. That is where you're actually mapping out the financial future you want, that's exciting and that drives you. And we tie our financial information into that, so it's locked in and it's going to give you what you're looking for. And we need to be able to plan ahead. And we can't plan ahead if we haven't got a forecast, and we can't plan ahead if we can't see where we're going, and that ability to chop and change the figures and see how things are going to be. We need to know if we're on track. Now, again, the right information will tell you if you're on track, which is why it must be in context and compared to a budget or a forecast, because without that, you won't know if you're on track. A number on its own means nothing. It's got to have a comparison. And we need to know we can always pay our bills. We need to know we're not worried about cash flow drying up. We need to know we can pay our VAT bills and all those other things. We need to plan when we can put money into our pension, and the right information lets you do that. And fundamentally, we need to know where we are financially right here, right now, and where we're heading. So I will bang on about financial information until I'm blue in the face, until all of you have really got this, because it is that important. So the right information isn't just a one-dimensional print off of an accounting system, okay? It's a 360-degree mirror that protects you, that looks into the nooks and crannies, that tells you what's going on where you're not looking. It isn't just a one-dimensional, dull, flat profit and loss report. It should be showing you every aspect of what's going on in your business. And it needs to tell you where you are right now, where you were last month, and where you are today and this week, and looking forward the next few weeks and months as well, because that's where we've got a chance to change things. If we're always only ever looking backwards, that's fine, and we can learn from looking backwards, but we've got to be looking forward and seeing where we're going. And then, you've got to be able to know that you're on or off track so you can fix things quickly. We don't want to get to year end and find out gross margin drop 2 or 3%. You've got to be on at the month it happens so that you can get right on it, fix it, and get back in control. So I talked last week in our Banishing Financial Stress from our business masterclass about protection. I'm just going to reshare this slide because it's a really important one. You've got you in the middle here, and this band that sits directly around you is the information. It is a critical part of what buffers you from the outside world, what buffers you from risk and shock, and what keeps you completely on track and focused. So this information here is giving you this protection here. We talked about buffered cash and taxes last week, so if you didn't catch that, I'll leave you to go and catch up on that slide. So let's talk through the must-have financial information for any business. You must have a monthly profit and loss account, and remember, never ever quarterly. And that needs to show you your full year forecast profit as well as your monthly profit, and it needs to also show you your profit against your forecast or your budget, so you can see exactly where you are and if you're doing what you're meant to have done, because that is where the gold is in information, the comparison and the context, because that's where you're going to say, oh, sales were down on budget, why? Gross margins up on budget, why? We overspent on stuff, why? And how do we change that and bring that back on track? If you're not comparing to anything, they're just numbers and they kind of don't have a lot of meaning. And your profit, as I'll show you shortly, must show your net profit after tax and after corporation tax and after dividends. A lot of profit and loss reports off your accounting system won't have these key items on them, so you're not seeing the whole picture. A lot of people get to year end and go, oh, why have I made so much less profit than I thought? And that's because these critical items aren't included. Now, obviously, this applies to a limited company. A 13-week rolling cash flow forecast is a must unless you're in a lucky position where cash isn't an issue for you. And a weekly flash report, which is something that tells you right here, right now, where am I this week? It's week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Where am I? Am I on track? What can I change to get a better month rather than just wait and see what happens? So hoping that this is making sense. Please feel free to comment anything, any thoughts you've got, any insights or realizations. So I'm just going to share full screen on here so you can see more numbers and less me, which has got to be a good thing. Okay, ignore the fact that this is a massive sea of numbers for now. I just want you to really focus on the layout of this and how different it is to the singular column set of accounts you're going to get from your accounting system. The important thing is that we've got month by month by month actuals laid side by side, and then we have the rest of year forecast position after that with a full year forecast position. This is so hugely, hugely important, I can't tell you. But when you lay your accounts side by side, you have that chance to actually tell, is this right? Is that out of sync? Is there a mistake in there? Have I missed some invoicing? What's happening to my gross margin percentage? Are my sales where they need to be? And then you have that ability to keep reforecasting all the time and keeping this as live and accurate as you can get it, because our most important driver is our full year forecast position. A month in isolation doesn't tell us if we're on track to get our goals and our dreams. A month in isolation won't tell you if you can afford to make a pension contribution at the end of the year. And it won't tell you what your full year tax bill is going to be. Now, the important thing you'll notice here as well is this includes dividends and corporation tax. Hugely important if you pay yourself via dividends. Otherwise, you're going to be missing, basically your pay will be missing from the profit report. And corporation tax, it's really easy to drop that in as a 19% percentage. It means you know all the way through the year how much your tax bill is going to be, and you can make sure that money is put aside. And our most crucial figure here that I teach all my clients and I run my business by is, what is our net profit forecast for the whole year? How much are we on target to make, and what's the percentage figure? I really want you all to be aiming for a net 10% net profit after tax and dividends, because that keeps your business safe and it's putting profit and cash into your balance sheet. So I hope the message is clear here. This full year forecast is the most important part, and this ability to track against previous months and to keep reforecasting your year as you go. Really, really important. Okay, now this is probably this is a little bit more advanced, and it does require a bit of spreadsheet skill. although we do have a new cloud-based management information package coming out shortly, which will do all this automatically straight out of your accounting system, which is hugely exciting. Now, what you can see here is your actuals are being compared against a budget. So we have this ability here to say, okay, what's good, what's bad, what's behind target, what's ahead of target. This is the most important part of an accounts report, because it's not just this column on its own. It's telling us there's something to compare to. There's something we need to take action on. So, for example, gross margin is down on budget. It's down in financial terms and it's down in a percentage term. Now, that is hugely important because it means something's either gone wrong in the accounting or has gone wrong in the business, and we need to fix it. And we need to know quickly. So, which is why this comparison is so incredibly important. And it also tells us if we're on track financially for that bottom line. And it also repeats the full year forecast position. So you're always looking at several dimensions of this, not just what's my profit this month, but we're looking at against budget, this month, last month, next month, and full year position altogether. So hoping that's making sense. Please do shout if it's not. I am absolutely here to answer questions if anything is not completely crystal clear for you. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is I'm going to just pop back on screen for this. The flash report. Now, this is a really important report for any size business, and I'm going to show you in two halves here because it's otherwise too long to go on the screen. A flash report is something we do on a Monday morning and should take no more than 15 minutes, hence the name flash. It should be really quick. And it's a flash snapshot of where we are right here, right now, this week. Now, the reason we do this is because let's say if you don't check your figures during the month and you get to month end and you get to maybe the third week of the next month and you get your accounts and then you go, oh, well, that's not what I was expecting. How did we end up so far off what we thought we'd do? Well, the flash report will tell you in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, if you're on track or not. And if you're not, guess what? You've got a chance to change it during the month rather than waiting till the month's finished and then go, oh, well, it's too late now. So a great flash report, it gives you the opportunity to put some headlines in for the week. Now, this kind of section is useful if you're giving it to other people in your business and it's not just you working on your own. But it makes you look and see what's going on this week. What was the headline? What was the news? What happened? What's on fire? So what problems have we got? What needs our attention very urgently? And what's at risk? Now, that might be a client, a project, or a member of staff, but it just really gets people focused on that. And then our sales targets, this ability to look forward on our sales target and say, what have we already got in the bag for March? What have we already got in the bag for April, May, and June? So we're identifying a sales gap well ahead of time, because normally the marketing lag to fix that sales gap is going to be several months before. So rather than getting to June and going like, oh, our pipeline's dried up, we're not going to hit target, we want to know about that in March, because in March we've got a chance to fix it. And this is all about you taking control and having control of your financial future, which means we're looking ahead and we're constantly saying, what can we do to change the outcome? What can we do that's different? Rather than just trundling along and saying what's happened. So the second half of this report is getting into a bit more detail. I'm going to go full screen so you can see that better. You maybe can't quite read these, but this can be tailored to anything that you want. And I will put a template of this up for you in the guide section after the event. So here we're looking at order book. So what was our order intake this week? What's our total order book? May not be applicable to you, but lots of companies run with an order book. What sales did we close this week? So what are our wins? So again, we're keeping a track on, are we consistently landing new work? And if it's drying up, we're going to see it drying up. Pipeline, so what's our pipeline value? And if you track weighted pipeline, you can add that in there too. And number of jobs quoted in the week. And again, it may not be quite applicable to you, but there'll be something that relates to you that you can track and measure. Marketing, so you could be looking at number of new leads in the week, total number of leads, what your invoice sales were to make sure you're on track to hit sales target. And then debtors and creditors, just a really good way to keep a snapshot eye of if you've got debtors going over 60 days. Just on that subject, I strongly recommend that every business owner sees their debtor report every single week without fail, because especially in these times where things are going to be tightening up, cash flow will be tightening up as we go through the recovery, keeping on who owes you money is super, super important. So, come back to me. So I hope that has made sense. I just really want to drill into you guys, because I've been doing this for such a long time, and the the difference that the right information makes is absolutely transformational. Having the right information, knowing that you are going to see a problem if it comes, if something goes off track, knowing that you'll see it, it takes away that sleepless night thing. It takes away the worry, because you'll know if something is off track, you will see it coming in time to fix it, to stop it being a problem to you. Okay, we couldn't predict the pandemic, fair enough. Oh, hi Lisa, nice to see you. We couldn't predict the pandemic, but the things I'm teaching you in this group are not just about what we can predict, because we can't predict everything, but what we can do is protect our businesses against those unexpected things, like building buffer cash, like putting our taxes away. So this is all about the right information. It wraps you around like a lovely comfort blanket and keeps you safe and warm. And it just leaves you, you're just not exposed anymore. You know where you are, you know where you're going. And I will honestly tell you that every successful company I've ever worked with, and I mean financially successful, they've had great information. I don't think I've ever come across a company that was doing well that didn't have good information. And when you think about it, the moving parts in the business are so varied and can be so complex. The odds of it all just working out fine without any intervention or checking, pretty remote. So I hope you can see why this level of financial information is just so incredibly important if you want to master the money in your business, which I know you do because you're here. So that's the end of the masterclass for this week. Next week, we are talking about how to read and understand your profit and loss and balance sheet. So don't be shy about coming to those. I've hardly worked with a business owner who hasn't at some point sheepishly said to me, could you just talk me through that again, because I've never quite understood it. And normally it's a very accountancy kind of thing. And I'm going to show you how to make real sense of it and how it applies to you personally, and how you can just go, oh, I really get that now. Because it's something that you should really, really get, and not something you should have to struggle to understand. So please, if you've watched this, please do leave me a comment. Let me know you're watching it. Give me a hashtag replay if you've watched it on replay. I would love to know what that's been helpful for, if any light bulbs have gone off for you, if you've had any realizations or learnings. It really helps me to see what else I can support you with. And yeah, have a great weekend. I think the sun might be shining again. And have an awesome weekend, and I will see you guys all next week. Cheers and bye.